Jin-Ho Kim wiped his sweaty hands on his pants for the 10th time. The waiting room of the Galactic Academy was cold, but he couldn't stop sweating. He was the only human in a room full of aliens. Some had many arms. Others looked like walking crystals. A few were just clouds of gas with eyes. Jin-Ho touched his small backpack again to make sure it was still there. Inside were just 3 pencils, an eraser, a calculator, and a stack of blank paper. That was all Earth was allowed to send with him. It seemed so little, his mother had said when they packed it. Jin-Ho remembered her worried face and felt sick to the stomach. He was not just taking a test for himself. He was taking it for all humans. An alien with skin like blue glass walked over to him. Earth Candidate 7K22, please follow. Jin-Ho stood up. My name is Jin-Ho Kim. The blue alien blinked 3 eyes at once. Names are not standard in testing protocol. Well, I'd like to use mine anyway, Jin-Ho said. His voice came out stronger than he felt. The alien made a sound like bells tinkling. Noted, follow me, Jin-Ho Kim of Earth. They walked down a long hallway. The walls glowed with soft light, showing moving pictures of star systems and strange symbols. Jin-Ho tried not to stare, but it was hard. Everything here was more advanced than anything on Earth. The blue alien stopped at a large door. This is the testing chamber. The other 19 candidates are already inside. Jin-Ho took a deep breath. What exactly is this test for again? The speed test exam determines if your species has the mental ability to join our coalition, the alien said. Each species must show they can solve complex problems quickly and correctly. Jin-Ho nodded. Earth desperately wanted to join the interstellar coalition. They needed the advanced technology, the protection, and the trade routes. But first, they had to prove humans were smart enough. All other candidates have brought their species' best computing technology, the alien said, looking at Jin-Ho's backpack. Your tools seem primitive. Jin-Ho tried to smile. We work with what we have. The door slid open silently. Inside was a large round room with 20 stations arranged in a circle. Most were already filled with aliens sitting at complex machines with glowing screens and moving parts. Some aliens had wires connected directly to their bodies. All eyes turned to look at Jin-Ho as he entered. He heard clicking sounds, bubbling noises, and high-pitched tones that must have been alien laughter. A tall alien who seemed to be made of shifting smoke floated to the center of the room. When it spoke, the words appeared in Jin-Ho's mind directly. Welcome, final candidate. I am Hae-Nul, the chief examiner. Please take the empty station. Jin-Ho walked to the last open spot. Unlike the other stations with their complex machines, his had only a simple desk and chair. He sat down and placed his backpack on the table. Earth sends its first candidate with paper, a crystal-like alien at the next station asked. Its voice sounded like rocks sliding together. Yes, Jin-Ho said, trying to sound confident. Paper and pencil. More alien laughter filled the room. Jin-Ho felt his face grow hot. He opened his backpack and took out his supplies, arranging them carefully on the desk. Hae-Nul floated to a higher position. Attention candidates. The speed test exam will begin in 30 seconds. You will solve increasingly difficult mathematical problems. Each round eliminates the slowest performers until one remains. Jin-Ho's heart pounded in his chest. The alien next to him had what looked like a small sun floating between its claws. Another had dozens of tentacles connected to glowing orbs. And here he was with a pencil. First problem will appear. Now, Hae-Nul announced. A hologram appeared in front of each station. Jin-Ho stared at the complex equation that hovered in the air. Then he picked up his pencil, pulled a sheet of paper close, and began to write. The race was on. Earth's future depended on what Jin-Ho could do with just his mind, his hands, and a simple pencil. Jin-Ho studied the problem floating in front of him. It showed a spacecraft trying to travel between 2 points in space while avoiding 3 gravity wells. The math was complex but familiar. He looked around quickly. The other aliens were already busy. The crystal being next to him had light racing through his body. The gas alien across from him swirled in complex patterns. Everyone was using their technology to solve the problem. Jin-Ho took a deep breath and began to draw. First, he sketched the 3 gravity wells and the path. Then he wrote down the basic equations he would need. "Look at the Earth creature," a voice said. "It's making marks on dead plant material." Jin-Ho ignored the comment and kept working. The math wasn't too hard. It was similar to problems he had solved in his advanced physics class. His pencil moved quickly across the paper. Suddenly, a bell sound rang out. The crystal alien next to Jin-Ho raised one of its arms. "Candidate Da has completed the first problem," Hae-Nul announced. "Checking solution now." Jin-Ho kept working. He was about halfway done. Another bell rang, and another. Aliens were finishing all around him. Jin-Ho didn't look up. He focused only on his work, carefully checking each step. When he was sure his answer was right, he wrote the final number clearly at the bottom of the page. "Earth candidate Jin-Ho Kim indicates completion," Hae-Nul said, floating over to Jin-Ho's desk. "Please show your solution." Jin-Ho held up his paper. The smoke-like alien seemed to study it. Jin-Ho waited nervously. "Correct," Hae-Nul finally said. 15 out of 20 candidates have finished correctly. The remaining 5 are eliminated." Jin-Ho let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. He had made it past the first round. "Rest period of 5 minutes," Hae-Nul announced. "Then we begin round 2. A small alien with blue skin and large eyes approached Jin-Ho. She walked on 4 thin legs and had 2 arms that ended in delicate fingers. "Hello, Earth person," she said in a musical voice. "I am Yuna from the Ta Cetus system. Your method is interesting." Jin-Ho smiled. "Thank you. I'm Jin-Ho from Earth." "Why do you not use computing machines?" Yuna asked. "Your species has computers, yes." "We do," Jin-Ho said, "but they're not as advanced as yours. For us, sometimes thinking through a problem can be faster than programming it." Yuna's large eyes blinked slowly. "Strange. Our young learn to merge with computation systems before they learn to speak." Before Jin-Ho could respond, Hae-Nul's voice filled the room again. "Round 2 begins now." A new problem appeared in front of Jin-Ho. This one was much harder. It showed a ship trying to navigate through a shifting asteroid field. The asteroids moved in patterns that affected each other's orbits. Jin-Ho heard the crystal alien Day make a humming sound as its inner lights glowed brighter. All around the room, the aliens connected to their devices. Some grew extra limbs. Others changed color. Jin-Ho stared at the problem. There were too many variables to calculate one by one. He would need to find a pattern. He drew the asteroid field on his paper. Then he watched the movement pattern shown in the hologram. After a minute, he saw something. The asteroids moved like a dance, he whispered to himself. "There's a rhythm." Instead of calculating each asteroid's path separately, Jin-Ho wrote an equation for the whole system. He treated it like a wave pattern rather than individual objects. His pencil moved faster now. The solution was becoming clear. He could see the safe path through the asteroids without having to calculate every possible collision. Around him, bells began to ring as aliens finished. Dai was first again. The crystal alien turned to look at Jin-Ho, its faceted eyes reflecting the hologram's light. Jin-Ho kept working. His approach was different, but he was sure it was right. He wrote the final coordinates of the safe path and circled his answer. "Earth candidate indicates completion," Hae-Nul said, coming to check Jin-Ho's work. Jin-Ho waited nervously as the smoke-like alien studied his paper. "Correct," Hae-Nul said, sounding surprised. "And your method is unexpected. You did not calculate each asteroid's trajectory." "No," Jin-Ho said. "I saw that the whole field moves in a pattern. Once I knew the pattern, I could find the safe path." Hae-Nul seemed to shimmer slightly. "Interesting approach." 10 candidates remained for round 3. As the alien floated away, Jin-Ho noticed Yuna and Dae, both watching him with new interest in their alien eyes. "Round 3 will test your ability to handle quantum uncertainty," Hae-Nul announced. "This is where true computational power becomes necessary." Jin-Ho felt his stomach tighten. Quantum physics was the hardest subject he had studied. Earth scientists were still trying to build working quantum computers. The aliens probably had them built into their bodies. The new problem appeared in the air. It showed a ship trying to navigate through a wormhole with unstable edges. The quantum fluctuations meant the wormhole's shape kept changing in ways that couldn't be predicted exactly. Jin-Ho heard the aliens around him power up their systems. The room hummed with energy. Dai's crystal body glowed so bright that Jin-Ho had to look away. Yuna's four-legged body sprouted what looked like metal antennas. Jin-Ho stared at the problem. How could he solve something with his pencil that needed a quantum computer? He took a deep breath and started drawing the wormhole. He couldn't calculate the exact shape it would take, but maybe he could find the range of possibilities. 20 minutes passed. No one had solved the problem yet. The alien machines worked harder. The room grew hot with the energy they used. Jin-Ho kept working. He was trying something different. Instead of finding one perfect path, he was looking for a path that would work no matter how the wormhole changed. Suddenly, a loud alarm sounded. Jin-Ho looked up to see Dai's crystal body flashing red. "System overload," Dai said in a strained voice. "The quantum variables are creating recursive loops in my processor." Another alarm went off, and another. Around the room, aliens were having trouble with their computers. "My neural interface is stuck in a calculation cycle," one alien said. "The quantum uncertainty is too high for precise mapping," another complained. Hae-Nul floated to the center of the room. "This is unexpected but informative. Your computational systems are trying to calculate all possible outcomes. With quantum uncertainty at this level, the number of calculations becomes nearly infinite." Jin-Ho looked back at his paper. He had been drawing something that looked like a tunnel with wavy edges. The sides of the tunnel showed the outer limits of where the wormhole might be. Any path that stayed in the middle of this tunnel would be safe, no matter how the edges changed. He wasn't calculating exact positions. He was finding the safe zone. Jin-Ho raised his hand. "I think I have a solution." The room went quiet. Every alien turned to look at him. Hae-Nul floated over. "You have solved the quantum navigation problem with paper." "I think so," Jin-Ho said. He held up his drawing. "I'm not trying to predict exactly where the wormhole edges will be. I found the area where they will never be. If the ship stays in this middle path, it will always be safe." Hae-Nul studied Jin-Ho's paper. The smoke-like alien was silent for a long moment. "Correct," Hae-Nul finally said. "The human has found a valid solution." The room filled with strange alien sounds, clicks, whistles, and electronic tones. Jin-Ho realized they were talking about him. Yuna came over to Jin-Ho's desk. "How did you solve it without calculating all the quantum states?" "I didn't need to," Jin-Ho explained. "I just needed to find where the ship would always be safe, no matter what state the wormhole took." Da joined them, its crystal body now a cool blue. "Our systems tried to be perfect. We wanted the exact best path. Sometimes good enough is better than perfect," Jin-Ho said, "especially when perfect is impossible." Hae-Nul raised all four of his smoky arms. 5 candidates remain for the final round. This will be the most difficult challenge yet. Jin-Ho looked around. Besides himself, Yuna, and Dai, there were 2 other aliens he hadn't spoken to yet. One looked like a tree with eyes on its branches. The other was a small pyramid that floated above his chair. "The final challenge will begin in 10 minutes, Hae-Nul said. "You may prepare your systems." The aliens immediately began working on their computers. Yuna connected more antennas to her body. Dai seemed to be growing new crystal formations. Jin-Ho had nothing to prepare. He just checked his pencils and made sure he had enough paper left. Then he closed his eyes and tried to calm his racing heart. The final test was coming. Earth's future depended on what he did next. Jin-Ho watched as the remaining aliens prepared their systems. The tree-like alien was growing new branches that sparkled with tiny lights. The pyramid alien had split into 3 smaller pyramids that spun around each other. "Final candidates," Hae-Nul announced. "The last challenge will test the absolute limits of computational ability. Are you ready?" The aliens made sounds of agreement. Jin-Ho just nodded. "Begin," said Hae-Nul. A new hologram appeared. Jin-Ho felt his heart sink. This wasn't just a math problem. It was the most complex thing he had ever seen. The hologram showed a ship trying to travel through not 1, but 5 connected wormholes. Each wormhole affected the others. Time moved differently in each one, and there were 18 different variables that kept changing. This is impossible, Jinho whispered. Around him, the aliens' machines were working at full power. Lights flashed. Strange sounds filled the air. The room began to shake slightly from all the energy being used. Day's crystal body had split into 10 smaller crystals, all working together. Yuna had become almost entirely mechanical, with only a small part of her blue body still visible. Jinho stared at the problem. He didn't know where to begin. How could he solve something this complex with just a pencil? For 5 minutes, he sat frozen. Earth was counting on him, and he was going to fail. Then Jinho remembered something his old math teacher had told him. When a problem seems too big, look for the pattern. Everything in the universe follows patterns. Jinho took a fresh piece of paper and just watched the hologram. He didn't try to solve anything yet. He just watched how the wormholes moved and changed. After 10 minutes of watching, he saw something. The 5 wormholes weren't moving randomly. They were connected. When one changed, the others changed in response. Jinho started drawing. Not equations at first, just the patterns he saw. It was like a dance of 5 partners. They moved together in a complex but beautiful way. 20 minutes have passed, Hey Newell announced. No solutions yet. The pyramid alien suddenly made a high-pitched sound. One of its smaller pyramids had stopped spinning and turned black. Processing unit failure, it said in a flat voice, continuing with reduced capacity. The tree alien was losing its leaves. Some of its branches had turned brown. System overheating, it reported. Cooling measures activated. Jinho ignored them. He had found something important. The pattern of the 5 wormholes repeated. It wasn't exactly the same each time, but the relationship between them stayed constant. He wrote down a single equation that described this relationship, then another that showed how time flowed differently through each wormhole. Finally, a third equation that connected everything. When he looked at these 3 equations together, he saw the solution. There was a path through the wormholes that followed their natural movement. Instead of fighting against the changes, the ship could ride them like a surfer rides a wave. Jinho wrote down the coordinates for this path. He checked his work twice. Then he raised his hand. Human candidate indicates completion, Hey Newell announced, sounding surprised. Checking solution now. The smoke-like alien floated over to Jinho's desk and studied his paper. The room was silent except for the sounds of the alien's struggling computers. Correct, Hey Newell finally said. The human candidate has solved the final challenge. The tree alien's branches drooped. Impossible. Our best quantum systems cannot process all variables yet. I didn't process all the variables, Jinho explained. I found the pattern that connects them. Once I knew the pattern, I could see the path. Day's crystals were formed into one body. Show us. Jinho held up his paper with the 3 simple equations. These describe how the wormholes relate to each other. They don't move randomly. They move together, like a dance. Once I saw that, the solution was clear. Yuna's mechanical parts retracted back into her body. The human found a shortcut. Not a shortcut, Jinho said. Just a different way of seeing the problem. Hey Newell floated to the center of the room. The test is complete. For the first time in the history of the Galactic Academy, a species using non-quantum computation has passed the speed test exam. Jinho could hardly believe it. He had done it. Earth would join the Interstellar Coalition. But as he looked at the amazed faces of the aliens around him, he realized something else had happened too. He had shown them a new way to solve problems. News spread fast through the Galactic Academy. A human had solved the speed test using only paper and pencil. Teachers, students, and researchers from all over the station came to see Jinho. Jinho sat in a large round room. The walls were made of a clear material that showed the stars outside. Around him sat 7 high-ranking Academy officials. Some looked like the aliens he had already seen. Others were new types he had never imagined. The head of the Academy was named Taeyang. He looked like a tall pillar of golden light. When he spoke, Jinho felt the words in his mind rather than heard them. Human Jinho Kim, you have done something remarkable, Taeyang said. No species has ever passed the final test without quantum computing. Jin-Ho shifted in his seat. Thank you, but I just did what made sense to me. That is exactly what interests us, said another official who looked like a cloud of tiny silver fish swimming together. Your approach was unique. You saw patterns where our systems calculated variables. Dai and Yuna were also in the room. They had been asked to join as representatives from the test. I still don't understand how you solved it so simply, Dai said, its crystal body glowing softly. Our most advanced systems required billions of calculations. Jin-Ho thought for a moment. I think it's because humans had to solve complex problems before we had computers. We developed ways to see connections and patterns. We look for the simple truth hiding in complex data. Fascinating, said Yuna. Our species developed computational technology very early. We never needed to find shortcuts or patterns. Taeyang moved closer to Jin-Ho. The golden light felt warm but not hot. Would you teach some classes at the academy? We want to learn this human way of thinking. Jin-Ho was shocked. Me? Teach aliens? But you're all so much more advanced than humans. In technology, yes, said the cloud of silver fish. But perhaps not in thinking. You have shown us a different path. Jin-Ho thought about Earth. His mission was to get Earth into the coalition. Teaching at the academy would strengthen Earth's position. I would be honored to teach, Jin-Ho said. But I'm not sure what to teach exactly. Start with these, Taeyang said. A hologram appeared showing Jin-Ho's solutions from the test. Explain how you found these patterns. Show us how humans think. Later that day, Jin-Ho sent a message to Earth with the good news. Earth had been accepted into the coalition. More than that, Jin-Ho had been asked to stay at the academy as a teacher. Jin-Ho spent the evening in his new room at the academy. It was designed for humans, with a bed, a desk, and a bathroom. The view showed the huge space station with ships coming and going. There was a knock at his door. When Jin-Ho opened it, he found Yuna and Dae waiting outside. May we come in? Yuna asked. We have questions. Jin-Ho welcomed them. Dae floated to the center of the room while Yuna sat on her 4 legs near the desk. We've been thinking about your methods, Dae said. We want to understand better. Jin-Ho smiled. What do you want to know? Yuna pointed to Jin-Ho's desk where he had some paper and pencils. Show us how you draw your thoughts. Our species doesn't do this. Jin-Ho sat at the desk and took a fresh sheet of paper. When humans think about complex problems, we often need to see them. Drawing helps us organize our thoughts. He began to draw a simple wormhole similar to the test problem. As he drew, he explained his thinking. I don't try to calculate every point. I look for the overall shape, the flow, the pattern. It's like seeing the forest instead of counting every tree. Dae and Yuna watched with great interest. Dae even tried to hold a pencil in a small crystal arm it formed. Our first class with you is tomorrow, Yuna said. Many important scientists will attend. They are very interested in human thinking. Jin-Ho felt nervous but also proud. He had come to the academy hoping to prove humans were worthy of joining the coalition. Now he was going to teach the most advanced species in the galaxy. I'll do my best, Jin-Ho said. But you'll have to be patient. Human teaching is different too. Different is exactly what we want to learn, Dae said, its crystal body glowing with colors Jin-Ho had never seen before. Jin-Ho stood in front of the classroom. It was nothing like classrooms on Earth. The room was circular with rising seats that went up the walls and even onto the ceiling. Aliens of all shapes and sizes sat in these seats. Some floated. Others hung from special bars. A few were just clouds of color with eyes. Jin-Ho took a deep breath. His first class at the Galactic Academy was about to start. Good morning, he said. I am Jin-Ho Kim from Earth. Today, we will learn about human problem-solving methods. The room was completely silent. Hundreds of alien eyes watched him. Jin-Ho felt sweat on his forehead, but he continued. I have prepared a problem for us to solve together. Jin-Ho touched a panel on his desk. A hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed a complex solar system with 12 planets and 3 suns. This system is becoming unstable. The 3rd sun is going to explode in 30 days. We need to find safe evacuation routes for all 12 planets. A tall, thin alien with 6 arms raised one hand. What computational systems should we use for this? None, Jinho said. Today, we will solve this with just our minds. A wave of sounds filled the room, clicks, whistles, and electronic tones. Jinho recognized this as surprise or confusion. Please watch first, Jinho said. He took out a large paper and a marker. He began to draw the solar system, but in a simplified way. He used circles for the planets and triangles for the suns. When humans face a complex problem, we first simplify it. We remove details that aren't important right now. Jinho drew arrows showing the planets' orbits. Next, we look for patterns. See how these outer planets move together, and these inner planets form another group. The aliens watched silently. Some were recording. Others were trying to draw on paper they had brought. Now we look for natural opportunities, Jinho continued. The explosion will push energy outward in waves. If we time the evacuations right, ships can ride these waves to save fuel. Jinho drew more arrows showing the explosion waves and possible ship routes. Yuna, sitting in the front row, raised a hand. But there are too many variables. The exact path of the waves depends on countless factors. Jinho nodded. Exactly. Too many to calculate precisely. So humans look for robust solutions, paths that work in many different scenarios, not just the perfect one. He drew a wide corridor through the system. Any path in this zone will work, even if the waves change by 20% in any direction. Day's crystal body glowed with interest. You accept imprecision. We planned for it, Jinho corrected. Perfect solutions often fail when conditions change slightly. Robust solutions work even when things don't go exactly as planned. For the next hour, Jinho guided the aliens through his thought process. He showed them how to group similar problems, how to find symmetry, and how to test solutions quickly by trying extreme cases. Many aliens struggled. They wanted to calculate everything exactly. They wanted perfect answers. Human thinking is strange, said a floating cube alien. You guess instead of calculate. Not guessing, Jinho explained patiently. We make educated estimations based on patterns we recognize. It's a skill that improves with practice. By the end of the class, some aliens were starting to understand. A few had even found evacuation routes that Jinho hadn't seen. Taeyang, the head of the academy, had been watching from the back of the room. After class, he floated down to Jinho. Remarkable, the golden being said. Some of our best scientists are already applying your methods to old problems and finding new solutions. Jinho felt proud. Human thinking isn't better than alien computing. It's just different. Together, they can be powerful. Precisely why we wanted Earth in the coalition, Taeyang said. Different perspectives make us all stronger. As Jinho packed up his papers, Day approached him. I have been thinking about our test, the crystal alien said. Your solution to the final problem. I have studied it for hours. Did it make sense to you? Jinho asked. Yes, Day said, glowing blue with excitement. And I applied your pattern-finding method to another wormhole problem. I solved it without using my full computational system. It was efficient. Jinho smiled. That's great. The Academy is planning something important, Day said more quietly. They want to create a new research team combining the best computational systems with human thinking methods. They will ask you to lead it. Jinho was shocked. Me? Lead alien scientist? Yes, Day said, because you see things differently. And that is exactly what we need. Jinho stood in front of the classroom. It was nothing like classrooms on Earth. The room was circular with rising seats that went up the walls and even onto the ceiling. Aliens of all shapes and sizes sat in these seats. Some floated, others hung from special bars. A few were just clouds of color with eyes. Jinho took a deep breath. His first class at the Galactic Academy was about to start. Good morning, he said. I am Jinho Kim from Earth. Today, we will learn about human problem-solving methods. The room was completely silent. Hundreds of alien eyes watched him. Jinho felt sweat on his forehead, but he continued. I have prepared a problem for us to solve together. Jinho touched a panel on his desk. A hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed a complex solar system with 12 planets and 3 suns. This system is becoming unstable. The third sun is going to explode in 30 days. We need to find safe evacuation routes for all 12 planets. A tall, thin alien with 6 arms raised one hand. What computational systems should we use for this? None, Jinho said. Today, we will solve this with just our minds. A wave of sounds filled the room, clicks, whistles, and electronic tones. Jinho recognized this as surprise or confusion. Please watch first, Jinho said. He took out a large paper and a marker. He began to draw the solar system, but in a simplified way. He used circles for the planets and triangles for the suns. When humans face a complex problem, we first simplify it. We remove details that aren't important right now. Jinho drew arrows showing the planets' orbits. Next, we look for patterns. See how these outer planets move together, and these inner planets form another group. The aliens watched silently. Some were recording. Others were trying to draw on paper they had brought. Now we look for natural opportunities, Jinho continued. The explosion will push energy outward in waves. If we time the evacuations right, ships can ride these waves to save fuel. Jinho drew more arrows showing the explosion waves and possible ship routes. Yuna, sitting in the front row, raised a hand. But there are too many variables. The exact path of the waves depends on countless factors. Jinho nodded. Exactly. Too many to calculate precisely. So humans look for robust solutions, paths that work in many different scenarios, not just the perfect one. He drew a wide corridor through the system. Any path in this zone will work, even if the waves change by 20% in any direction. Day's crystal body glowed with interest. You accept imprecision. We plan for it. Jinho corrected. Perfect solutions often fail when conditions change slightly. Robust solutions work even when things don't go exactly as planned. For the next hour, Jinho guided the aliens through his thought process. He showed them how to group similar problems, how to find symmetry, and how to test solutions quickly by trying extreme cases. Many aliens struggled. They wanted to calculate everything exactly. They wanted perfect answers. Human thinking is strange, said a floating Q alien. You guess instead of calculate. Not guessing, Jinho explained patiently. We make educated estimations based on patterns we recognize. It's a skill that improves with practice. By the end of the class, some aliens were starting to understand. A few had even found evacuation routes that Jinho hadn't seen. Taeyang, the head of the academy, had been watching from the back of the room. After class, he floated down to Jinho. Remarkable, the golden being said. Some of our best scientists are already applying your methods to old problems and finding new solutions. Jinho felt proud. Human thinking isn't better than alien computing. It's just different. Together, they can be powerful. Precisely why we wanted Earth in the coalition, Taeyang said. Different perspectives make us all stronger. As Jinho packed up his papers, Day approached him. I have been thinking about our test, the crystal alien said. Your solution to the final problem. I have studied it for hours. Did it make sense to you? Jinho asked. Yes, Day said, glowing blue with excitement. And I applied your pattern-finding method to another wormhole problem. I solved it without using my full computational system. It was efficient. Jinho smiled. That's great. The Academy is planning something important, Day said more quietly. They want to create a new research team combining the best computational systems with human thinking methods. They will ask you to lead it. Jinho was shocked. Me? Lead alien scientist? Yes, Day said, because you see things differently. And that is exactly what we need. 1 month had passed since Jinho's first class. Today was a special day at the Galactic Academy. The Grand Hall was filled with aliens from across the coalition. Earth's leaders had traveled to the Academy for this event. Jinho sat on the stage next to Taeyang. He wore his best suit, but he still felt small next to the golden being of light. Taeyang rose and moved to the center of the stage. The hall went quiet. Today marks a historic moment for the Galactic Academy. Taeyang's words reached everyone's minds. We welcome Earth as the newest member of the Interstellar Coalition. The Earth leader smiled and nodded. Jin-Ho felt proud. His success had opened this door for his planet. But today is about more than just adding a new member, Taeyang continued. It is about recognizing a new way of thinking that will make us all stronger. Taeyang gestured to Jin-Ho. 1 month ago, this human solved our most difficult speed test using only paper and pencil. Many thought this was impossible. How could simple tools beat our quantum computers? The audience was completely silent, waiting for the answer. The answer is not in the tools, Taeyang said. It is in the mind that uses them. Jin-Ho showed us that sometimes the best solution is not to calculate every possibility, but to find the pattern that connects them all. Jin-Ho watched as his solutions appeared as giant holograms above the stage. His simple drawings and equations floated for all to see. After studying human thinking methods, Taeyang said, we have made breakthroughs in several fields that have been stuck for centuries. New holograms showed the results: better ship designs, more stable wormhole routes, and new energy systems. Today, I am proud to announce the creation of the Pattern Recognition Institute, Taeyang said. This new division of the Academy will combine the best of computational power with human intuitive thinking. Jin-Ho stood as Taeyang called his name. Jin-Ho Kim of Earth will lead this institute, along with Da of the Crystal Collective and Yuna of Tall City. Da and Yuna joined Jin-Ho on stage. The three of them stood together, so different in form but now united in purpose. Jin-Ho stepped forward to speak. He looked at the crowd of aliens and the small group of humans. I came to the Academy thinking I needed to prove that humans were smart enough to join your coalition, Jin-Ho said. I was nervous because I only had paper and pencil while others had advanced computers. He held up a pencil for all to see. This simple tool did not win the test. The human mind behind it did. Not because human minds are better, but because they are different. And different ways of seeing the same problem often lead to new solutions. Jin-Ho looked at Dai and Yuna. In the Pattern Recognition Institute, we will not choose between computers and intuition. We will use both. Computers can calculate billions of possibilities in seconds. Human thinking can find the hidden patterns that connect those possibilities. The audience responded with sounds of approval, clicks, whistles, and even some human applause. After the ceremony, Jin-Ho stood with the Earth leaders at a reception. People and aliens mingled, sharing food, drinks, and ideas. You've done something remarkable, said the Earth president. You've given us a place in the stars. Jin-Ho smiled. And they've given us something too, a chance to share human creativity with the galaxy. Yuna approached with a small gift box. For you, she said, holding it out to Jin-Ho. Inside was a beautiful pen made of a metal Jin-Ho had never seen before. It shimmered with colors that changed as he moved it. It writes in any gravity and on any surface, Yuna explained. But it is still just a pen. The ideas must come from you. Dai joined them, its crystal body glowing with warm colors. The first meeting of our institute is tomorrow. We have selected 10 problems that our computers cannot solve efficiently. Jin-Ho held the new pen and thought about tomorrow's challenges. He felt nervous, but also excited. Thank you for showing us a different path, Dai said. Sometimes the oldest tools, a mind that sees patterns, a hand that draws them, are still the most powerful. Jin-Ho looked around at the gathering of humans and aliens. Together, they would find new ways to solve old problems. Earth's simple human thinking and alien advanced technology would create something greater than either could alone. The universe was full of patterns waiting to be discovered. Asterisk, the end asterisk.